I speak specifically of the Amy of today, who was only remotely like the woman I fell in love with. It had been an awful fairy tale reverse transformation. Over just a few years, the old Amy, the girl of the big laugh and the easy ways, literally shed herself. A pile of skin and soul on the floor, and out stepped this new, brittle, bitter Amy. My wife was no longer my wife but a razor wire not daring me to unloop her, and I was not up to the job with my thick, numb, nervous fingers. Country fingers. Flyover fingers untrained in the intricate, dangerous work of solving Amy. When I'd hold up the bloody stumps, she'd sigh and turn to her secret mental notebook on which she tallied all my deficiencies. Forever noting disappointments, frailties, and shortcomings. My old Amy, damn, she was fun. She was funny. She made me laugh. I'd forgotten that. And she laughed. From the bottom of her throat, from right behind that small finger-shaped hollow, which is the best place to laugh from. She released her grievances like handfuls of birdseed, they are there, and they are gone. She was not the thing she became, the thing I feared most. An angry woman. I was not good with angry women. They brought something out in me that was unsavory. She bossy? Gilpin asked. Take charge. I thought of Amy's calendar, the one that went 3 years into the future. And if you looked a year ahead, you would actually find appointments, dermatologist, dentist, vet. She's a planner, she doesn't, wing anything. She likes to make lists and check things off. Get things done. That's why this doesn't make sense. That can drive you crazy, Boney said sympathetically. If you're not that type. You seem very B personality. I'm a little more laid back, I guess, I said. Then I added the part one was supposed to add, we round each other out. I looked at the clock on the wall, and Boney touched my hand. Hey, why don't you go ahead and give a call to Amy's parents? I'm sure they'd appreciate it. It was past midnight. Amy's parents went to sleep at 9 p.m., they were strangely boastful about this early bedtime. They'd be deep asleep by now, so this would be an urgent middle-of-the-night call. Cells went off at 8:45 always, so Rand Elliott would have to walk from his bed all the way to the end of the hall to pick up the old heavy phone. He'd be fumbling with his glasses, fussy with the table lamp. He'd be telling himself all the reasons not to worry about a late-night phone call, all the harmless reasons the phone might be ringing. I dialed twice and hung up before I let the call ring through. When I did, it was Mary Beth, not Rand, who answered, her deep voice buzzing my ears. I'd only gotten to, Mary Beth, this is Nick, when I lost it. What is it, Nick? I took a breath. Is it Amy? Tell me. I'm sorry, I should have called. Tell me. We can't find Amy, I stuttered. You can't find Amy? I don't know. Amy is missing. We don't know that for sure, we're still. Since when? We're not sure. I left this morning, a little after 7. And you waited till now to call us? I'm sorry, I didn't want to. Jesus Christ. We played tennis tonight. Tennis, and we could have been. My God. Are the police involved? You've notified them? I'm at the station right now. Put on whoever's in charge, Nick. Please. Like a kid, I went to fetch Gilpin. My mommy-in-law wants to talk to you. Phoning the Elliots made it official. The emergency, Amy is gone, was spreading to the outside. I was heading back to the interview room when I heard my father's voice. Sometimes, in particularly shameful moments, I heard his voice in my head. But this was my father's voice, here. His words emerged in wet bubbles, like something from a rancid bog. Bitch, bitch, bitch. My father, out of his mind, had taken to flinging the word at any woman who even vaguely annoyed him. Bitch, bitch, bitch. I peered inside a conference room, and there he sat on a bench against the wall. He had been a handsome man once, intense and cleft-chinned. Jarringly dreamy was how my aunt had described him. Now he sat muttering at the floor, his blonde hair matted, trousers muddy, and arms scratched, as if he'd fought his way through a thorn bush. A line of spittle glimmered down his chin like a snail's trail, and he was flexing and unflexing arm muscles that had not yet gone to seed. A tense female officer sat next to him, her lips in an angry pucker, trying to ignore him. Bitch, bitch, bitch. I told you, bitch. What's going on? I asked her. This is my father. You got our call. What call? To come get your father. She over-enunciated, as if I were a dim 10-year-old. My wife is missing. I've been here most of the night. She stared at me, not connecting in the least. I could see her debating whether to sacrifice her leverage and apologize, inquire. Then my father started up again, bitch, 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 and she chose to keep the leverage. Sir, Comfort Hill has been trying to contact you all day. Your father wandered out a fire exit early this morning. He's got a few scratches and scrapes, as you can see, but no damage. We picked him up a few hours ago, walking down River Road, disoriented. We've been trying to reach you. I've been right here, I said. Right goddamn next door, how did no one put this together? Bitch, 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 said my dad. Sir, please don't take that tone with me. Bitch, bitch, bitch. Boney ordered an officer, male, to drive my dad back to the home so I could finish up with them. We stood on the stairs outside the police station and watched him get settled into the car, still muttering. The entire time, he never registered my presence. When they drove off, he didn't even look back. You guys not close? She asked. We are the definition of not close. The police finished with their questions and hustled me into a squad car at about 2 a.m. With advice to get a good night's sleep and return at 11 a.m. for a 12 to noon press conference. I didn't ask if I could go home. I had them take me to Go's, because I knew she'd stay up and fix me a sandwich. It was, pathetically, all I wanted right then. A woman to fix me a sandwich and not ask me any questions. You don't want to go look for her? Go offered as I ate. We can drive around. That seems pointless, I said dully. Where do I look? Nick, this is really fucking serious. I know, go. Act like it, okay, Lance. Don't fucking mia. It was a thick-tongued noise, the noise she always made to convey my indecisiveness, accompanied by a dazed rolling of the eyes and a dusting off of my legal first name. No one who has my face needs to be called Lance. Aren't you worried, Nick? That some guy, saw her on the street and just decided to take her. Hit her on the head and... I started. Why did you say hit her on the head? What is that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to paint a picture, I don't know, I just keep thinking. About some crazy person. Speaking of crazy people, I said, Dad got out again today. They found him wandering down River Road. He's back at Comfort now. She shrugged, okay. It was the third time in 6 months that our dad had slipped out. Go was her thoughts still on Amy. I mean, isn't there someone we can go talk to, she asked. Something we can do. Jesus, go. You really need me to feel more fucking impotent than I do right now? I snapped. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. There's no, when your wife goes missing 101. The police told me I could leave. I left. I'm just doing what they tell me. Of course you are, murmured Go, who had a long stymied mission to turn me into a rebel. It wouldn't take. I was the kid in high school who made curfew. I was the writer who hit my deadlines, even the fake ones. I respect rules, because if you follow rules, things go smoothly, usually. Fuck, go, I'm back at the station in a few hours, okay? Can you please just be nice to me for a second? I'm scared shitless. We had a 5-second staring contest, then Go sat down next to me, put a hand on my shoulder. Poor Amy, she said.
Amy Elliott Dunn. April 21, 2009, diary entry. Poor me. Let me set the scene. Campbell and Inslee and I are all down in Soho, having dinner at Tableau. Lots of goat cheese tarts, lamb meatballs, and rocket greens. I'm not sure what all the fuss is about. But we are working backward, dinner first, then drinks in one of the little nooks Campbell has reserved. A mini closet where you can lounge expensively in a place that's not too different from, say, your living room. But fine, it's fun to do the silly, trendy things sometimes. We are all overdressed and we all eat small plates of food bites that are as decorative and unsubstantial as we are. We've discussed having our husbands drop by to join us for the drinks portion. So there we are, post-dinner, tucked into our nook. We are running out of things to say. It is a Tuesday, and no one is feeling like it is anything but. The drinks are being carefully drunk. Inslee and Campbell both have vague appointments the next morning, and I have work, so we aren't gearing up for a big night. We are winding down, and we are getting dull-witted, bored. We would leave if we weren't waiting for the possible appearance of the men. Campbell keeps peeking at her BlackBerry. Inslee studies her flexed calves from different angles. John arrives first. Huge apologies to Campbell, big smiles, a man just thrilled to be here, just delighted to arrive at the tail end of a cocktail hour across town. George shows up about 20 minutes later, sheepish, tense, a terse excuse about work, Inslee snapping at him, "You're 40 minutes late." Him nipping back, "Yeah, sorry about making us money." The two barely talk to each other as they make conversation with everyone else. Nick never shows, no call. We wait another 45 minutes, Campbell solicitous. Probably got hit with some last-minute deadline, she says, and smiles toward good old John, who never lets last-minute deadlines interfere with his wife's plans. Inslee's anger thawing toward her husband as she realizes he is only the second biggest jackass of the group. "You sure he hasn't even texted, sweetie?" Me, I just smile, who knows where he is. I'll catch him at home. And then it is the men of the group who look stricken. You mean that was an option? Take a pass on the night with no nasty consequences? No guilt or anger or sulking? Well, maybe not for you guys. Nick and I, we sometimes laugh out loud. At the horrible things women make their husbands do to prove their love. The pointless tasks, the myriad sacrifices, the endless small surrenders. We call these men the dancing monkeys. Nick will come home, sweaty and salty and loose from a day at the ballpark, and I'll curl up in his lap, ask him about the game. Ask him if his friend Jack had a good time, and he'll say, "Oh, he came down with a case of the dancing monkeys." Poor Jennifer was having a real stressful week and really needed him at home. Or his buddy at work, who can't go out for drinks because his wife really needs him to stop by some bistro where she is having dinner with a friend from out of town. So they can finally meet, and so she can show how obedient her monkey is. He comes when I call, and look how well groomed. Wear this, don't wear that. Do this chore now and do this chore when you get a chance, and by that I mean now. And definitely, give up the things you love for me, so I will have proof that you love me best. It's the female pissing contest. As we swan around our book clubs and our cocktail hours, there are few things women love more than being able to detail the sacrifices our men make for us. A call and response, the response being, "Oh, that's so sweet. I am happy not to be in that club. I don't partake." I don't get off on emotional coercion, on forcing Nick to play some happy hubby role. The shrugging, cheerful, dutiful taking out the trash, honey. Roll. Every wife's dream man, the counterpoint to every man's fantasy of the sweet woman. I like to think I am confident and secure and mature enough to know Nick loves me without him constantly proving it. I don't need pathetic dancing monkey scenarios to repeat to my friends. I am content with letting him be himself. I don't know why women find that so hard. When I get home from dinner, my cab pulls up just as Nick is getting out of his own taxi, and he stands in the street with his arms out to me and a huge grin on his face, baby. And I run and I jump up into his arms, and he presses a stubbly cheek against mine. What did you do tonight? I ask. Some guys were playing football after work, so I hung around for a bit. Hope that was okay. Of course, I say. More fun than my night. Who all showed up? Oh, Campbell and Inslee and their dancing monkeys. Boring. You dodged a bullet, a really lame bullet. He squeezes me into him, those strong arms, and hauls me up the stairs. God, I love you, he says. Poor me.
Nick Dunn, One Day Gone. My 18th burst of adrenaline kicking in just when I thought I'd finally go to sleep. My eyes were shutting, I was shifting my pillow, my eyes were closed, and then I saw my wife. Blood clotting her blonde hair, weeping and blind in pain, scraping herself along our kitchen floor. Calling my name. Nick, Nick, Nick. I psyched myself up for sleep, a losing routine. Sleep is like a cat, it only comes to you if you ignore it. I continued my mantra. Stop thinking, empty your head, now, seriously, empty your head, do it now. You need to be sharp tomorrow, you need to sleep. I got nothing more than a fussy nap toward dawn, woke up an hour later with a headache. Not a disabling headache, but decent. I was tender and dull. Foggy. I stutter-walked to Go Subaru, the movement feeling alien, like my legs were on backward. I had temporary ownership of the car. The police had graciously accepted my gently used Jetta for inspection along with my laptop, all just a formality, I was assured. I drove home to get myself some decent clothes. 3 police cruisers sat on my block, our very few neighbors milling around. No Carl, but there was Jan Taverair, the Christian lady, and Mike, the father of the 3-year-old IVF triplets, Taylor, Topher, and Tallulah. I hate them all, just by name, said Amy, a grave judge of anything trendy. When I mentioned that the name Amy was once trendy, my wife said, Nick, you know the story of my name. I had no idea what she was talking about. Jan nodded from a distance without meeting my eyes, but Mike strode over to me as I got out of my car. I'm so sorry, man. Anything I can do, you let me know. Anything. I did the mowing this morning, so at least you don't need to worry about that. Mike and I took turns mowing all the abandoned foreclosed properties in the complex. Heavy rains in the spring had turned yards into jungles, which encouraged an influx of raccoons. We had raccoons everywhere, gnawing through our garbage late at night, sneaking into our basements, lounging on our porches like lazy house pets. The mowing didn't seem to make them go away, but we could at least see them coming now. Thanks, man, thank you, I said. Man, my wife, she's been hysterical since she heard, he said. Absolutely hysterical. I'm so sorry to hear that, I said. I pointed at my door. Just sitting around, crying over pictures of Amy. I had no doubt that 1,000 internet photos had popped up overnight, just to feed the pathetic needs of women like Mike's wife. I had no sympathy for drama queens. Hey, I gotta ask, Mike started. I patted his arm and pointed again at the door, as if I had pressing business. I turned away before he could ask any questions and knocked on the door of my own house. Officer Velasquez escorted me upstairs, into my own bedroom, into my own closet, past the silvery, perfect square gift box. And let me rifle through my things. It made me tense, selecting clothes in front of this young woman with the long brown braid, this woman who had to be judging me, forming an opinion. I ended up grabbing blindly. The final look was business casual, slacks and short sleeves, like I was going to a convention. It would make an interesting essay, I thought, picking out appropriate clothes when a loved one goes missing. The greedy, angle-hungry writer in me, impossible to turn off. I jammed it all into a bag and turned back around, looking at the gift box on the floor. Could I look inside? I asked her. She hesitated, then played it safe. No, I'm sorry, sir. Better not right now. The edge of the gift wrapping had been carefully slit. Has somebody looked inside? She nodded. I stepped around Velasquez toward the box. If it's already been looked at, then. She stepped in front of me. Sir, I can't let you do that. This is ridiculous. It's for me, from my wife. I stepped back around her, bent down, and had one hand on the corner of the box when she slapped an arm across my chest from behind. I felt a momentary spurt of fury that this woman presumed to tell me what to do in my own home. No matter how hard I try to be my mother's son, my dad's voice comes into my head unbidden, depositing awful thoughts, nasty words. Sir, this is a crime scene, you stupid bitch. Suddenly her partner, Reardon, was in the room and on me too, and I was shaking them off, fine, fuck, and they were forcing me down the stairs. A woman was on all fours near the front door, squirreling along the floorboards, searching, I assume, for blood spatter. She looked up at me impassively, then back down. I forced myself to decompress as I drove back to Goes to dress. This was only one in a long series of annoying and asinine things the police would do in the course of this investigation. I like rules that make sense, not rules without logic, so I needed to calm down. Do not antagonize the cops, I told myself. Repeat if necessary, do not antagonize the cops. I ran into Boney as I entered the police station, and she said, "Your in-laws are here, Nick," in an encouraging tone, like she was offering me a warm muffin. Mary Beth and Rand Elliott were standing with their arms around each other. In the middle of the police station, they looked like they were posing for prom photos. That's how I always saw them, hands patting, chins nuzzling, cheeks rubbing. Whenever I visited the Elliott home, I became an obsessive throat clearer, I'm about to enter, because the Elliots could be around any corner, cherishing each other. It was foreign to me. My parents divorced when I was 12, and I think maybe, when I was very young, I witnessed a chaste cheek kiss between the two when it was impossible to avoid, Christmas, birthdays. On their best married days, their communications were entirely transactional. We're out of milk again. I'll get some today. I need this ironed properly. I'll do that today. How hard is it to buy milk? Silence. You forgot to call the plumber. Sigh. God, put on your coat right now and go out and get some milk. Now. These messages and orders were brought to you by my father, a mid-level phone company manager who treated my mother, at best, like an incompetent employee. At worst, he never beat her, but his pure, inarticulate fury would fill the house for days, weeks at a time, making the air humid, hard to breathe. My father stalking around with his lower jaw jutting out, giving him the look of a wounded, vengeful boxer. Grinding his teeth so loudly you could hear it across the room. Throwing things near her, but not exactly at her. I'm sure he told himself, I never hit her. I'm sure because of this technicality he never saw himself as an abuser. But he turned our family life into an endless road trip with bad directions and a rage-clenched driver, a vacation that never got a chance to be fun. Don't make me turn this car around. Please, really, turn it around. I don't think my father's issue was with my mother in particular. He just didn't like women. He thought they were stupid, inconsequential, irritating. That dumb bitch. It was his favorite phrase for any woman who annoyed him. A fellow motorist, a waitress, our grade school teachers. None of whom he ever actually met, parent-teacher conferences stinking of the female realm as they did. I still remember when Geraldine Ferraro was named the 1984 vice presidential candidate, us all watching it on the news before dinner. My mother, my tiny, sweet mom, put her hand on the back of Go's head and said, "Well, I think it's wonderful." And my dad flipped the TV off and said, "It's a joke. You know it's a goddamn joke. Like watching a monkey ride a bike." It took another 5 years before my mother finally decided she was done. I came home from school one day and my father was gone. He was there in the morning and gone by the afternoon. My mom sat us down at the dining table and announced, "Your father and I have decided it would be best for everyone if we live apart." And Go burst into tears and said, "Good, I hate you both." And then, instead of running to her room like the script called for, she went to my mom and hugged her. So my father went away, and my thin, pained mother got fat and happy, fairly fat and extremely happy, as if she were supposed to be that way all along, a deflated balloon taking in air. Within a year, she'd morphed into the busy, warm, cheerful lady she'd be till she died. And her sister said things like, "Thank God the old Maureen is back," as if the woman who raised us was an imposter. As for my father, for years I spoke to him on the phone about once a month, the conversations polite and newsy, a recital of things that happened. The only question my father ever asked about Amy was, "How is Amy?" which was not meant to elicit any answer beyond, "She's fine." He remained stubbornly distant even as he faded into dementia in his 60s. If you're always early, you're never late. My dad's mantra, and that included the onset of Alzheimer's. A slow decline into a sudden, steep drop that forced us to move our independent, misogynistic father to a giant home. That stank of chicken broth and piss, where he'd be surrounded by women helping him at all times. Ha! My dad had limitations. That's what my good-hearted mom always told us. He had limitations, but he meant no harm. It was kind of her to say, but he did do harm. I doubt my sister will ever marry. If she's sad or upset or angry, she needs to be alone. She fears a man dismissing her womanly tears. I'm just as bad. The good stuff in me I got from my mom. I can joke, I can laugh, I can tease, I can celebrate and support and praise. I can operate in sunlight, basically, but I can't deal with angry or tearful women. I feel my father's rage rise up in me in the ugliest way. Amy could tell you about that. She would definitely tell you, if she were here. I watched Rand and Mary Beth for a moment before they saw me. I wondered how furious they'd be with me. I had committed an unforgivable act, not phoning them for so long. Because of my cowardice, my in-laws would always have that night of tennis lodged in their imagination. The warm evening, the lazy yellow balls bumping along the court, the squeak of tennis shoes, the average Thursday night they'd spent while their daughter had disappeared. "Nick," Rand Elliott said, spotting me. He took 3 big strides toward me, and as I braced myself for a punch, he hugged me desperately hard. "How are you holding up?" he whispered into my neck, and began rocking. Finally, he gave a high-pitched gulp, a swallowed sob, and gripped me by the arms. "We're going to find Amy, Nick. It can't go any other way. Believe that, okay?" Rand Elliott held me in his blue stare for a few more seconds, then broke up again. 3 girlish gasps burst from him like hiccups. And Mary Beth moved into the huddle, buried her face in her husband's armpit. When we parted, she looked up at me with giant, stunned eyes. "It's just a goddamn nightmare," she said. "How are you, Nick?" When Mary Beth asked how are you, it wasn't a courtesy, it was an existential question. She studied my face, and I was sure she was studying me, and would continue to note my every thought and action. The Elliots believed that every trait should be considered, judged, categorized. It all means something, it can all be used. Mom, Dad, Baby, they were 3 advanced people with 3 advanced degrees in psychology. They thought more before 9 a.m. than most people thought all month. I remember once declining cherry pie at dinner, and Rand cocked his head and said, "Ah." Iconoclast. Disdains the easy, symbolic patriotism. And when I tried to laugh it off and said, "Well, I didn't like cherry cobbler either," Marybeth touched Rand's arm. Because of the divorce. All those comfort foods, the desserts a family eats together, those are just bad memories for Nick. It was silly but incredibly sweet, these people spending so much energy trying to figure me out. The answer, I don't like cherries. By 11:30, the station was a rolling boil of noise. Phones were ringing, people were yelling across the room. A woman whose name I never caught, whom I registered only as a chattering bobblehead of hair, suddenly made her presence known at my side. I had no idea how long she'd been there. And the main point of this, Nick, is just to get people looking for Amy and knowing she has a family who loves her and wants her back. This will be very controlled. Nick, you will need to, Nick. Yep. People will want to hear a quick statement from her husband. From across the room, Go was darting toward me. She'd dropped me at the station, then run by the cafe to take care of bar things for 30 minutes. And now she was back, acting like she'd abandoned me for a week, zigzagging between desks. Ignoring the young officer who'd clearly been assigned to usher her in neatly, in a hushed, dignified manner. Okay so far. Go said, squeezing me with one arm, the dude hug. The Dunn kids don't perform hugs well. I wish Mom was here, she whispered, which was what I'd been thinking. No news? She asked when she pulled away. Nothing, fucking nothing. You look like you feel awful. I feel like fucking shit. It's almost time, the PR woman said, again appearing magically. It's not a bad turnout for a July 4th weekend. She started herding us all toward a dismal conference room, aluminum blinds and folding chairs and a clutch of bored reporters. And up onto the platform. I felt like a third-tier speaker at a mediocre convention, me in my business casual blues, addressing a captive audience of jet-lagged people daydreaming about what they'd eat for lunch. But I could see the journalists perk up when they caught sight of me, let's say it, a young, decent-looking guy. Then the PR woman placed a cardboard poster on a nearby easel, and it was a blown-up photo of Amy at her most stunning. That face that made you keep double-checking. She can't be that good-looking, can she? She could. She was. And I stared at the photo of my wife as the cameras snapped photos of me staring at the photo. I thought of that day in New York when I found her again, the blonde hair, the back of her head, was all I could see, but I knew it was her, and I saw it as a sign. How many millions of heads had I seen in my life, but I knew this was Amy's pretty skull floating down 7th Avenue in front of me. I knew it was her, and that we would be together. Cameras flashed. I turned away and saw spots. It was surreal. That's what people always say to describe moments that are merely unusual. I thought, you have no fucking idea what surreal is. My headache was really warming up now, my left eye throbbing like a heart. The cameras were clicking, and the two families stood together, all of us with mouths in thin slits. Go the only one looking even close to a real person. The rest of us looked like placeholder humans, bodies that had been dollied in and propped up. Amy, over on her easel, looked more present. We'd all seen these news conferences before, when other women went missing. We were being forced to perform the scene that TV viewers expected. The worried but hopeful family. Caffeine-dazed eyes and ragdoll arms. My name was being said, the room gave a collective gulp of expectation. Showtime. When I saw the broadcast later, I didn't recognize my voice. I barely recognized my face. I looked like a fleshy wastrel, just sensuous enough to be disreputable. I had worried about my voice wavering, so I overcorrected, and the words came out clipped, like I was reading a stock report. We just want Amy to get home safe. Utterly unconvincing, disconnected. I might as well have been reading numbers at random. Rand Elliott stepped up and tried to save me. Our daughter, Amy, is a sweetheart of a girl, full of life. She's our only child, and she's smart and beautiful and kind. She really is amazing, Amy. And we want her back. Nick wants her back. He put a hand on my shoulder, wiped his eyes, and I involuntarily turned to Steele. My father again, men don't cry. Rand kept talking. We all want her back where she belongs, with her family. We've set up a command center over at the Days Inn. The news reports would show Nick Dunn, husband of the missing woman, standing metallically next to his father-in-law. Arms crossed, eyes glazed, looking almost bored as Amy's parents wept. And then worse. My long-time response, the need to remind people I wasn't a dick, I was a nice guy despite the affectless stare, the haughty, douchebag face. So there it came, out of nowhere, as Rand begged for his daughter's return, a killer smile.